used and disrespected you to regret losing you? Would it feel so satisfying to finally have him crawling back on his knees, begging for forgiveness? Well, I'm about to burst your bubble. That is an absolute waste of your time. In fact, it actually makes your life worse. After we discuss why making him regret losing you is pointless, you'll discover why this is a horrible approach and what you should do instead. Welcome to the Players Club. My name is Tomisin. If you are paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so I know you're here present and actively participating with everyone. Welcome to all you beautiful people today on this Tuesday afternoon for me. Could be Tuesday night for you, could be Wednesday morning for you, depending on where you are in the world, okay? How are all of you beautiful people, amazing souls doing? We got Lennon Leak over in the TikTok chat. We got Atobatele Sweet over in the TikTok chat as well. Of course, we got Missy America holding down the YouTube chat as she always does so amazingly. Thank you, Missy America. We got Ivy as well. LK Based Beauty, Pinkbot, Angela, Teddy, Kamara, one of my favorite names on here. And a ton of other people. Love you guys so much. SH is here holding down the TikTok chat as well. Okay, let's get started. All right, and we shall discuss as we go along. So let's start with reasoning. Okay, I know this topic is going to be very painful for all of us. Okay, because I know naturally we all want to get the guy that we like or we had feelings for or we feel like didn't appreciate us. We want that feeling of finally having him see what we really are and having him see how valuable we were and what they missed out on. It's just such a good feeling to finally, have them realize that after mistreating you for so long. I know. Which is why this is such a hot topic, which is why this is part of the reason why you've tuned in, okay? But I want you to understand, while there might be nothing wrong with the idea of just wanting someone to see the value in you and regret losing you, I do want you to understand how that can still be detrimental to you and everything you're trying to do for yourself. Because remember, I know that we talk so much on this show about what men want, what they need, what the approach should be and all that good stuff. But remember what I always tell you, the most attractive thing to men is how you invest in yourself. So yes, we talk a lot about what men think, what they want, what they find attractive. But in reality, all of those things coincide with how you can best serve yourself and invest in yourself, because truthfully and honestly, the men find the women the most attractive that are investing the most into themselves. And so I say that to say the reason I bring up reasoning as number one is because I want us to come to a truthful understanding of the real reason why you actually want him to regret losing you. Okay? Because in reality, the only thing that is being served, okay, the only positive coming from him regret losing you is your happy and satisfied ego. Okay? Now, there's nothing particularly wrong with having a happy and satisfied ego, but I want you to understand that that's all you're receiving from that. Okay? And while that might not seem a problem in itself, the thing about it is you're attaching part of your happiness or fulfillment within yourself or your value of yourself based on whether or not this guy is going to come back and see this value in you. This is where it can become very dangerous. Welcome, Brianna, as well. You late, Brianna, usually on time. This is where it can become very dangerous because when you begin allowing him, and whether or not he is able to come back crawling to you and see the value in you, to control whether or not you feel satisfied within yourself, right? The fact that you're acknowledging he can give you something by coming back to you and crawling back to you and validating you and telling you how amazing you are and how much he misses you and wants to be with you, you're giving him power. Again, okay? I know this sounds crazy and out there, but when you really sit down and think about it, right, the fact that this situation matters to you so much, and the fact that you want so badly for you want to do all these things, right? You want to change the way you dress. You want to go to the gym now. You want to eat right. You have all this motivation to do all these things simply for the reason that you want him to regret losing you, come back crawling, and beg for forgiveness. Well, then you're giving part of your own power away. Why? Because you're allowing him to control whether or not you feel good about yourself based on if he regrets losing you or not. Okay? And that reasoning for doing things is going to control which actions you take and which actions you don't take, because it stops being about actually investing in yourself, and it starts being about how you can do things to have him see you as more valuable. Okay. And that reasoning in itself will drastically change the actions you actually take, and even the reason you're taking those actions. You're not really taking those actions to better yourself or invest in yourself. You're taking those actions that hopefully he can see that. And in the process of him seeing that, he'll recognize how valuable and amazing and awesome you are. And he'll come crawling back to you begging for mercy and forgiveness. And remember what I said before, that power that you've attached to that dream scenario. I'm going to refer to the dream scenario a lot throughout this episode, right? The dream scenario that he sends you a magical long text about how much he appreciates you and how much he realized how much he messed up and everything he wants to apologize for because of how he treated you and how he spoke to you and how he didn't do the things that he knew he should have done and all that good stuff. That's like your dream scenario. But the problem is, when you start off with that reasoning, we're going to talk about mindset and all this good stuff afterwards. But when you start off with this reasoning, you end up holding on to this dream scenario that you're hoping to eventually materialize in the relationship, and it doesn't allow you to actually focus on what really requires your focus, which is yourself. Okay? Remember, we've talked about this multiple times on the show, and I'll talk about it again. One of the biggest issues that you're facing, for some of you, that especially those of you that are in toxic relationships, is the desire to continue investing your time and energy into something or a relationship or someone that will zap your time and energy. Why? Because it becomes something you can focus on and focus your energy on and focus your mind on and focus your brain power on, which is the same reason why when you're not focusing all your time, energy, and brain power on that person or on that relationship, you find yourself very bored or uninterested with life, because you're so used to being able to hyper fixate on one person, on one relationship, chase after every single Scooby-Doo clue, and try to figure out every single little mystery, that when you're not doing that, and that's the only thing that's going on in your life, that's the only thing you focus on, you don't even focus on yourself, right? Your life becomes very boring, mundane, and uninteresting when you don't have that person or relationship to focus on. Okay, so I want you to understand where that reasoning comes from, because the reasoning is not because, oh, I want him to regret losing me because I deserve to be recognized for being the person that I am. No. That's just coming from your desire to satisfy and fulfill your own ego. And really what that boils down to is your desire to be validated by that man. I know you didn't want to hear this part. I know, because everyone else will tell you how to regret losing him. Even me, I told you guys how to get him to regret losing you. But then I realized in the process of letting you guys know that information, I realized that a lot of you are doing it for the sake of validation, not for the sake of actually wanting to better yourself and invest in yourself. You're just waiting for him to validate you, that you can feel good about yourself again. And so I realized that if I don't address properly why the reasoning for what you're doing has to be in the right place, otherwise you're not going to see the right result and you'll just be misguided, I had to address it. Okay. And I know for a lot of you, the reason you want him to regret losing you is simply because you want that validation from him that he recognizes what your value is. He recognizes how much he misses you and wants to be with you. Like I say, there's nothing wrong with wanting to satisfy your ego, but I also want you to understand in this scenario how it doesn't really serve you. Okay? Because now, once again, think about this. Your relationships, especially your toxic ones that went on for way too long, part of the reason they were going on for way too long is because you were in constant need and seeking his validation. And the fact that you weren't able to begin validating yourself, that you didn't need him to validate you in any way, shape, or form because you knew your own intrinsic value. And that was true to you. You didn't need him to confirm that by what he says or whether or not he compliments you or whether or not he takes it out. You knew that if you knew that your value was your value, you would only accept people that treat you as such. You wouldn't be holding on to breadcrumbs and scraping for breadcrumbs just to get your little bit of validation from that man. And so I say that to say the reasoning ends up being stemming from the same issue, is that even in the ending of the relationship, even in the process of things not working out and you guys going your separate ways, you're still in search for his validation. And you're holding on to that scenario and that idea that one day he'll come crawling back and tell me how sorry and apologetic he is for how he treated me and treated this relationship. And I will be validated in totality for how amazing I truly am by him. Instead of doing that validation for yourself, right? And building yourself up and investing in yourself, that nobody, whether him, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your best friend, your aunt, your uncle, nobody can take that confidence away from you and can take that validation that you have of yourself away from you. Okay? Because the moment you can be, the moment someone else's validation to you matters more than your own validation of yourself, that is the moment where you can be controlled. Okay. And that's the problem that most of you have been facing, is the fact that other people grow to understand that if they can get you emotionally invested in them, if they can get you in need of what they can give you, right? Especially for the men, if it be validation, if they can use that against you, the fact that you need their validation, they can begin dangling that in front of you like a carrot where they can manipulate you and get anything they want from you. This is why that reasoning can become very dangerous, because when he does come back, the fact that all you were seeking for and all you needed was that validation, you see, now he understands that if he approaches you a particular way, he can actually come back and get you back, because you weren't really in search of going out and investing in yourself and doing things for yourself. You were in search of that validating moment that when he comes back and he apologizes and tell you how much you mean to him, right? You'll begin to feel good about yourself again. And as you begin to feel good about yourself again, through the power that you gave him, now you can be controlled again. Why? Because if I continue validating you, I can convince you that, hey, let's make this relationship work. Hey, come back to me. Let's try this again. Now that I appreciate you, now that I realize what I missed out on, let's try this again. And because you're so overwhelmed with emotion because of how good it feels to be validated when all you were looking for was the validation, you didn't really want him to regret losing you because you actually wanted to walk away. You just wanted him to regret losing you that he could come back and tell you how much he misses you. Okay, there's a very big difference. And I know some of you are experiencing that difference. Okay, one in the chat, if you want men to just be honest with me, this is like therapy. One in the chat, if you want him to regret losing you because you want him to come crawling back to you. And two in the chat, if you wanted him to regret losing you because you actually just wanted him to see that, but you didn't care for the relationship to continue on. Okay. Let me know. I want to know. I want to know what you guys think. One in the chat if you wanted him to come crawling back, and two in the chat if you actually wanted the relationship to be over for good. Okay. Let me know, because I don't want it to be like I'm just pulling stuff out of my butt. Let's have a real conversation here. Okay, and I need you to be honest with me. One in the chat if you wanted him to come crawling back, and two in the chat if you actually were wanting the relationship to be over for good. Okay. I see Ann say regret. I see Lucky Me saying one. Mariana saying one. I see a lot of ones. Camilla says two in the YouTube chat. Ash D says why not both? Okay. Lily says one. Base Beauty says one. Okay. One for my ego, two for realistically. Okay. Right? Zuzi says if a girl wants the relationship to be over, she just leaves and never comes back. See, okay, Zuzi, I'm so glad that you said that. Okay, I'm so glad that you said that, because that should help us understand what it really is we're trying to accomplish when we're thinking about how to get him to regret losing us. We're not really trying to accomplish real regret. We just want him to be sad enough and miss us enough that he comes crawling back and he starts begging for our forgiveness and wants to be with us more. Okay, you really just want him to begin chasing you. That's what you really want. So if that's what you want, then say that. Don't say I want him to regret losing me because I'm actually gone forever. Because he didn't lose you, because you're not gone forever. Because when he comes back and he validates you a little bit, you're back again. So don't say you want him to regret losing you when he didn't lose you. He never did. All he had to do was come back in the right way with the right approach, and you're right back. Okay? The reason I say that is because if you have to make a decision... Okay, I'm going to get mad about this. I already know. You have to make a decision about what you want out of the relationship. You have to decide when you get to a crossroads in the relationship where you have a decision to make on whether to continue the relationship and deal with the things you're dealing with, or whether to end the relationship. You have to decide once that relationship ends, do you actually want this relationship to end for real, or do you want to get back with him? And you're better off just getting back with him if you know that you're trying to get him to regret losing you just for him to come back the right way. Instead of trying to convince yourself that you're trying to do it because you want him to see what he missed out. No, you don't. You want him to miss you and come back to you. Okay? And you're still attached to him. And this is why it becomes dangerous. So I talked about the reasoning. Number two, we have the mindset. Okay, so you are now doing things because of how you will be perceived by him, even though you are no longer in a relationship with him. Your mind is focused on him rather than yourself. This becomes very detrimental. Remember, I talked about the ego that and the validation that you're hoping to receive from him coming to crawl back to you. But now, even though your relationship is over with him and it's done, right? This is not someone you should be attached to still. Your mind is still focused on what you can do for him to see what you're doing, for him to perceive you a particular way, for his opinion to be swayed by you, for him to realize your value. And just like that, your mind is solely focused on him still, even though you're not with him in a relationship. Imagine how useless that is to you and to your brain power, because you only have 100% of your time and your energy. Okay, you only have 100%, meaning that if anything, any time or energy goes into a particular place, that means it has to get taken away from the 100% pie and put into that place. And once you're drained of your 100%, you don't have any more to give. So I say that to say, if your mind is focused on how he views you, what he thinks of you, if he wants to be with you, or if he regrets losing you, then your mind indirectly or directly, whichever one you want to think of it as, is not and cannot be focused on yourself and your own needs. Why? Because that focus, that your mind, your energy is on him and whether or not he wants you. And so you begin doing things more in line with what he will see of you and how he will perceive you, rather than the things that are best for you. For example, let's say you and your guy break up. Okay, and it's been a toxic relationship. You guys been going back and forth throughout the entire relationship. You were super loyal to him, and you just were like so upset at the fact that he cheated on you multiple times, and you can't believe that he would do that to you, despite you never talking to any other guys, never texting any other guys, never doing anything shady. And so you go out to a party and you see this ex at that party. In the process of you seeing this ex at a party, and let me know if any of you have ever done this before. Don't lie to me, okay? Tell me the truth if you've ever done this in the chat. You go to that party, and because he's there, this ex is there, and you see him there, you start flirting with another guy while he's there in front of you. You start talking to another guy while he's there in front of you. You start dancing with another guy while he's there in front of you, all for the reason of making this guy jealous. And if you were actually to be honest with yourself, you don't really find the guy that you're talking to that particularly interesting or even attractive. The sole purpose of you doing that is because you want him to be jealous, is because you want him to feel away, is because you want him to get mad, get angry, and say something to you. And sometimes, this is where it's like therapy, I just want you guys to be honest, and sometimes you might even go as far as to actually sleeping with that man, even though you weren't particularly interested in him. But in your mind, you're proving a point to him, even though he's not there watching you sleep with the man. I know we're getting deep here and we're getting, into the deep inside the woods here, but trust me, even the guys at me, I've been there as well myself. Okay, and guys do this too. But I want you to understand it's a mistake. And sometimes we don't realize it's a mistake because we get lost in the sauce. We get lost in the emotion of, oh, I want revenge, or, oh, I want you to see what you're missing out on, or, oh, I want you to see how much you are missing when I'm not with you anymore. And then you end up so focused on what the other person thinks, what the other person wants, if they want you, if they want to be with you, that you start making decisions that actually hurt you in the long run or even the short run. Because in the example that I just gave, sleeping with the guy or hooking up with the guy that you don't actually find attractive or interesting or want to build a relationship with is a mistake. It's a mistake because you're literally giving your body away for free to a man that you don't find interesting, you don't find attractive, and you're not trying to build a relationship with, who probably doesn't fit any of the criteria of the things you want in a partner, solely because you want to make someone else jealous who may or may not even be watching. Think about how useless and pointless that is. Okay? When your mind is so focused on someone else that you actually do things that make your own life worse, your own love life, your own life, right? The quality of your life worse simply because you're trying to prove a point to someone that you're not in a relationship with. There's nothing wrong with trying to prove a point to someone you're in a relationship with or that is invested in you as well. But imagine trying to prove a point to someone who is not at all invested in you. For some of you in the situations that you're in, the guy that you're trying to get regret losing you is actively in another relationship with another girl. Or they're just doing their own thing and not thinking about you. And meanwhile, you're literally sacrificing your body and giving it away to random dudes simply because you want to get him to regret something that he's not even thinking about. Okay? And I'm not saying this to take a poop on you. I'm saying this to help you understand how sometimes your energy can be misguided when you're so hurt by the fact someone disrespected you or treated you wrong or didn't do the relationship how you thought they should do the relationship. This is why it's so important, and we had another previous live stream episode about learning how to detach yourself from a man. This is why it's so important to know how to properly detach yourself from someone, especially from a relationship. Because if you're not able to properly detach yourself from that man or that relationship, then you'll find yourself in a position where you're making decisions and doing things based on your attachment to the non-existent relationship. A relationship that isn't happening anymore, that is over now. You're still attached to it and still making decisions based on it. even though the guy has moved on with his life, or at the very least has another situation going on, even if maybe he hasn't moved on. Okay? Don't hurt yourself and traumatize yourself simply because you want him to regret losing you. This is where it gets pointless, because some of you go so deep into that territory where all you can think about is what he thinks. Does he want to be with you? Does he think that it was a mistake leaving you? Does he think that... It doesn't matter. Who cares? When you have to start adopting the mindset that, okay, I know my value. I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. I know I'm beautiful. I'm stunning. I know that guys will crawl on glass and want to sniff my butthole. They will pay money to sniff my butthole. That's how amazing I am. Okay. You need to walk into all your relationships with that understanding. If someone does not treat you according to that understanding that you have in yourself, you then say, cool, you're not living up to the standards I have of a partner. Please step to the side. There's 1,000 other people that will gladly take your place and are fighting to the death to take your spot. Step to the side, go in the corner somewhere just where I can't see you, because there's lots of other people that are prepared to do the things that must be done. And you remove your mind from what's going on with the people who, or the person in this particular case, who is not ready to be the partner that you require in a relationship. Okay. This is why I talked about why it's so important to be able to properly detach yourself from people and relationships in a way where you can only invest yourself in the right people that will treat you the right way, and not be constantly so attached to the fact that, oh my God, I want this relationship that I'm trying to build to work so badly with you, and I want it so badly to be you, that rather than analyze and observe if you are the person I'm looking for, I'm just going to try to force you to be the person I'm looking for. Okay? Right? This is why it can become very pointless. Okay. So number one, I talked about the reasoning. Number two was the mindset. Number three, okay, let's discuss outcomes. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. There are really only two possible outcomes whenever you want a guy to regret losing you. Let's just be so for real. There are two possible outcomes. The first outcome is he regrets losing you. He apologizes to you. He tells you how much he misses you and wants to be with you still, and how he's going to fix all of his mistakes and how he wants everything to be amazing with you guys from now on. And you guys get back together and you live happily ever after. That's possibility number one. Don't get your hopes up. It's probably not going to happen, but that's possibility number one. Possibility number two is really just some function of you guys don't get back together. Whether it be you guys, he just never comes back to you and you never have that dream scenario in which he says, oh my God, I miss you, I want you back so badly. Or he might have that scenario, but even after he says that, he just goes back to acting the same way, and then you end up in the same place with no relationship. Okay? Either way, basically the two possibilities are you end up together or you don't. One of the two. So I say that to say, you then have to make a decision. What outcome are you actually striving for here? Right? What outcome are you actually striving for? Don't just say, I want him to regret losing me. That's pointless. Really be truthful with yourself about what outcome you want out of the situation. Listen to me. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want him to properly appreciate me. If he cannot be the person that I need him to be with some space away from me, I will walk away from the relationship. That's a different thing. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. However, that's very different from saying, oh, I don't need him to regret losing me. I know that he will regret it because I know what my value is. And regardless of whether even he does or not, it's irrelevant to me because I'm not concerned with anything he's doing, thinking, or feeling. I'm only concerned with me and what direction I'm going in. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Okay. Right? BJ says, I just want to move past him and move forward. See, that's great. And see, this is the trick that a lot of you guys go through. My uncle for not here. Me uncle for gone. This is the trick that a lot of you guys go through, is that you trick yourself into saying, I'm trying to move forward, I'm trying to move past the situation, but then all you can think about is, oh, I can't wait I'm going to go to the gym 18 times a day, and I'm going to get the biggest, widest dump truck of all time. When I walk around, my waist is going to be -1 and my hips is going to be 35. I'm just going to be walking around with this dump truck spilling out of my pants, and everyone's going to see me and look at my voluptuous yitties, and he's going to realize what he missed out on, because all the men are literally putting their nose in my butthole, and she's going to miss me, and he's going to be so sad when he sees how big my dump truck is. But like, all of your focus is not even on how you're really going to better yourself or why it's important to better yourself. All of your focus is on what he thinks of you. Okay? Right? And you can never move forward in your life when all of your focus is on what he thinks of you. Literally, all of your focus. Okay, so you only have two possible outcomes. Either you end up together or you don't. So you have to choose what outcome you're actually in search of. There's nothing wrong with saying to yourself, you just want to grow his appreciation for you, and you want to see if in the process of you pulling back, if that will have him actually acting the right way. There's nothing wrong with that. But then acknowledge that's what you're trying to do, and then do that. Don't break up and then say, oh, we're broken up, but I'm still thinking about what he's thinking about and if he wants to be with me. Then you're not actually broken up. You're still attached to him and attached to the relationship and the situation. Meanwhile, this man is moving on, and this man is growing relationships with new people, because it's a lot harder for you to detach as a woman. Men obviously have emotions too, but it's a lot easier. Well, I shouldn't say a lot easier. It's easier for him to detach himself from you by drowning himself in other squirtle. Okay? It's not that easy for you. Painful for you, actually. Okay, so if you know what your goal is, right? And if you know that your goal is to actually just move forward with your life and end the relationship, then you cannot be wasting valuable energy trying to prove to him how amazing you are, right? Because the outcome of the situation does not change. Okay, if you're not trying to be in a relationship with him, whether or not he regrets losing you doesn't change the outcome of you not being in a relationship. I know when I'm saying this out loud to you on a Tuesday afternoon and we're sitting on the couch together and you're probably laying in your bed or on the toilet taking a poop or something like that. When we're sitting here talking like this and you're not in love with me, it's a lot easier to digest, and you're like, oh yeah, that's obvious. Of course, it's a waste of my time. If we're not going to be together, why would I care if he wants to regret losing me? But when you're actually in the situation and you're actually with the guy that you like, or you're actually in this back and forth situationship, all you can think about is, oh, what can I do to get my revenge? What can I do to have him regret losing me? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And it's all about him. Okay. And what we always discuss on this show, and what I always try to turn your attention to, is what can you start doing for yourself? Of course, we talk about men and we talk about relationships, but we always talk about them in relation to you and your life and your needs, your wants, and your desires. Okay, the only time I talk to you guys about adjusting your approach or changing your approach or what you might need to work on is in relation to what you're actually seeking, what response you want, what reaction you want, and how you want people to approach you. It's really all about what you want and what your needs are. And the focus should always be on yourself. Because serving yourself is the only way to actually find happiness. I know it makes it sound super selfish, but you actually have to serve yourself to grow that confidence within yourself that other people can be attracted to you. When you're hoping that other people will increase your confidence and other people will validate you and other people will invest in you and then see the value in you, and that's how you'll gauge your self-worth, you'll be very disappointed the moment anyone takes that validation away from you, and you'll be easily manipulated that way as well. Okay? Very important. Tezanot, I always struggle saying your name, but welcome back. I thought of getting on Tinder out of revenge. I went on LinkedIn and said, better return on investment. I love that. I love that, Tezanot, what you just said, right? Think about it. What does, and I'm sure some of you have been in a similar situation. What does going on Tinder actually do for you? Right? How is that investing in you? It's really not. It's actually making your quality of life lower because you're, going to be around a whole bunch of low quality microwave men who are only seeking something quick and easy. But you think to yourself, oh, I'm getting revenge on him by getting with all of these guys. No. I will listen to me, okay? This is very important for the show. If you don't take anything else away from the show, please take away this. Listen to me. I'm a man, okay? I'm a man telling you this, and I have tons of guy friends, okay? We all feel the same way. I can assure you, listen to me. I can assure you, the only person that loses when you sleep with someone else after you finish our relationship, the only person that loses is you. The only person. Because me, the person that broke up with you, I realize that it's great that we ended the relationship because you must not be that valuable if you're easily accessible to some other random guy. And that other random guy wins because he got easy access to you simply because you were trying to prove something to me. When all you prove to me is that you're worthless. I don't want to make you upset or make you sad or make you be like, oh my God, why did I do that? That was so stupid of me to do. But that reality setting in will help you make better decisions for the future. You're the only person that loses when you do that. Don't think that he's going to regret losing you by you sleeping with a random guy. No. Don't even think that he's going to regret losing you by sleeping with his best friend. Or sleeping with his brother, sleeping with his cousin, whatever you want to do, okay? Cool, that might be getting revenge, but if your goal is for him to regret you or miss you or really think about you in a way where he's like, damn, I messed up, I can assure you, I'm a man telling you this, I can assure you, he will not miss you or regret losing you whatsoever. He'll actually be very happy he got rid of you. And even if he was the one that cheated on him, he'll begin convincing himself he did the right thing by cheating on you because he realized what a horrible person you are. Okay. And like I said, the guy who you slept with will also win because he got easy access to you. In the end, you end up being the only person traumatized. And the guys who slept with you end up high-fiving each other because they're like, wow, look, she literally tricked herself out of her own Squirtle. Okay. Like I say, I'm not saying that to be mean. I just say that so you'll understand why it's foolish of you to be focused on what anyone else thinks about you except for you. Okay? Don't become obsessed with what other people think about you and if they value you and if they see. No. Understand your own value. Live in that truth and don't be swayed by what anyone else says or thinks about you. It's irrelevant because they're not living in your body. They don't have your soul. You're the only person that's going to spend that much time with you. Okay, so we talked about the reasoning. We talked about the mindset. We talked about the outcomes. Now let's talk about the attachment. I mentioned the attachment earlier. I want to discuss it in detail now. Okay, so you become so attached to this dream scenario. Remember, I mentioned the dream scenario earlier on. This dream scenario that eventually he's going to come crawling back in this magical moment where he's going to spill out his heart to me and tell me all the things that he made that were mistakes, all the reasonings of why he messed up, how badly he realizes he wants to be with me, everything that he realizes he did wrong. And it's going to be this big come to the world moment where he just spills everything to me, and I feel so validated that everything I was thinking, everything that I wanted was right, and I am the most amazing girl for him, and he wants to be with me so badly, right? You become attached to that outcome and scenario that you end up being out of a relationship, meaning you're a single woman who is still attached to the man. Because as you're attached to that outcome, that dream scenario that you're hoping will eventually happen, where he realizes how much he regrets losing you, you're also continuously attached to him. It's the same reason why I talked to you guys in the previous, not yesterday's episode, but in a previous episode about how to detach yourself from a man emotionally, and how part of that detachment emotionally is detaching yourself literally from the idea that you're going to see him again, speak to him again, have one last conversation, have one last phone call, have one last text message, simply because that looking forward to that possibility, leaving the door open that way, doesn't allow you to properly move on and move forward, because you're constantly thinking to yourself, this won't be the last time I see them. This won't be the last time I speak to them. And so they stay in the back of your mind and in your subconscious in a way that you don't even realize. You're not properly able to move forward and grow new relationships because you're constantly thinking about the possibility of this old relationship continuing on. And the same thing is happening when you're always in obsession about how all the things you can possibly do to get this guy to regret losing you. You become so attached to the idea that this dream scenario is going to happen where he confesses how much he misses you and how bad he messed up, that you continuously stay attached to himself, the person, right? You stay attached to him because you're hoping that one day he's going to come to you and text you this long paragraph of a message about how much he regrets losing you, or send you this long, beautiful phone call, or show up at your door with flowers and a boombox. I know that sounds good in a High School Musical. I know it looked really good in your favorite teen drama, but in reality, you holding out hope for that dream scenario, like you saw in the movies, like you saw on the TV shows, is only going to make it harder for you to move forward with your life. And it's also going to make it that much harder for you to begin doing what is most important, especially after a breakup or a situationship, which is investing in yourself. Okay? I want you to understand that. And like I mentioned when I was talking to you guys about detaching from a man emotionally, it's not about not feeling the feelings. It's about acknowledging that you feel and felt the feelings, and that's okay. When you felt them, they were real to you. But now that you have a better understanding of the person and the relationship, you're happy to move forward with your life because you recognize how that relationship or person no longer serves you. Okay? And this is where you have to be honest with yourself about what you are trying to actually extract from him regretting losing you. Is it that you actually want him to really regret anything, or you really just want him to come back crawling to you? In which case, you're still invested in that relationship. So then you should ask yourself, why are you invested in a relationship that this other person isn't actually committed to? And is that a good use of your time and energy to be so invested and continuously attached to a relationship that is no longer serving you and has no future? Okay? Like I say, you only have 100% of your time and energy. If you focus it or stay attached to a situation hoping that one day he'll come back and tell you how much he misses you and wants to be with you, well, that time and energy focused on that, or focused on trying to prove that to him or show that to him, will not be focused on you. And so who loses? You do. Okay? A cookie monster says, I agree. She was talking to Shelly Anna. She said, I want to get in shape first, then date. I don't want to feel, I don't feel like I would be my best dating now, especially because clothes don't fit right. I'm at my heaviest. And see, this is the thing. You see, and you know what? I'm glad even you said that. Cookie Monster, because I want to address that, and I want to address that in the next point that we'll go to. So let's discuss focus. Okay, this is number 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5, we'll discuss focus, and we'll address what Cookie Monster just said. Okay, so rather than beginning the process, looking forward to how you can be a better version of you, you focus on him, like I mentioned before. You start thinking about what you can do to elicit a response out of him, and your actions go from being what's best for you to what's best for your dream scenario. I mentioned it earlier when I talked to you guys about sleeping with a guy or doing stuff with a guy or hooking up with a guy or giving attention to a guy simply because you want to make your ex jealous or the guy you're trying to get to regret losing you jealous. Okay? And it stops you from focusing that energy, like I mentioned earlier, on what actually benefits you. So Cookie Monster mentioned about going to the gym and getting in the best shape because that's going to help her build her own confidence within herself, view her as the hot, amazing, beautiful, seductive woman that she can go out and really actually have that confidence, which the confidence is what the men are attracted to, and have that confidence in herself. But think about how that focus in investing in yourself will have you taking action in the right places that will actually yield you results and get you better relationships versus focusing that energy on how you can get that dream scenario out of him, which is that moment where he'll regret losing you and see how amazing you are and come crawling back to you. And how most of the time when your energy is focused on that, you won't actually be doing things that better help you and invest in you. You'll be doing things that are better helping you to realize your dream scenario, which is the boombox moment where he'll be standing outside of your door at 12 a.m. at night with the boombox telling you how much he loves you and wants to be with you, okay? I apologize to burst your bubble, but this is not an episode of Euphoria. You're not Maddie, and your boyfriend is not, what's his name? Is it Jake on the show? Who's the really toxic guy on the show? Okay? Right? Your crazy psycho ex-boyfriend is not going to come and sorry, that's his name on Euphoria, right? Nate's not going to come and do this whole rigmarole show of how much he loves you still and wants to be with you, that he's going to whisk you off away from the man, away from the situations, and take you to a land far, far away and do his toxic, manipulative, hot, steamy romance with you. Okay, this is not Euphoria, unfortunately. Okay. And the reason I say that is because I want your focus to not be on trying to recreate that scenario and be on how you can better invest in yourself for once. Okay. Right. I know those scenarios are hot and steamy and it's great to want to sit around and fantasize, but leave your fantasies for your time with your rose. Okay. This is not the time for your fantasies when you're actually trying to figure out where you should be spending your time and energy invested in. Okay. It should be invested in yourself, not trying to get a random guy who you're not going to be in a relationship any longer to regret losing you. Because at the end of the day, if you're acknowledging that the relationship didn't work out for a reason, then you don't need to be caring about whether or not he regrets losing you. The relationship is not going to continue on regardless of whether he regrets you or not. It only serves your ego. And if you're waiting for him to serve your ego by validating you and telling you how much he regrets losing you, well, then you're giving him your power. And so you broke up with a man and he still has control over you. Who looks like the idiot now? Right? So you want to make sure that your focus is in the right place and not on what he's doing with his life, whether or not he's noticing you, whether or not he's checking up on you, whether or not this is this is one of those things. See, I know how we're really doing stuff, okay? I'm not a 90-year-old man where relationships back in my day in 1987 where we used to go to the club and we used to do a little rinky-dink and swing each other around, do the rigmarole. No. This is part of what I'm talking about when you go on social media and you're checking to see if he's watched your story. Okay, you're checking to see if he's, checked up on you, if he's seen your WhatsApp status. You're checking to see if he's watched your Snapchat story. You're checking to see if, if he's checking up on you. And it just becomes a vicious cycle where everything you do becomes about if he's seeing it or not. Like the essence of your being is just about, did he see it? Does he realize how he messed up? Does he realize how amazing I look? Does he realize how stunning I am? Does he realize how valuable I am? Does he realize how any guy would want to be with me? Okay, cool. Like get over yourself. You need stop focusing on him. You're more important. Focus on yourself. Don't worry about if he's looking at your story. Doesn't matter. You're not trying to be in a relationship with that man. You're trying to find the partner you're actually trying to be in a relationship with. Okay? The reason I say that is because, not to be mean to you, but because I want you to snap yourself out of it. It is like a trance that you put yourself in where all of your attention, what does he want? Does he think I'm cool? Is he seeing this? Is he seeing how I dress? Is he seeing how I look? Is he seeing what do you do for yourself? You're not in a relationship with that man and you're thinking about what you're doing for him or whether he's seeing that. When's the time you do some stuff for you? When's the time you stop thinking about what he thinks and what he wants and what he desires and when's the time you start doing some stuff for you? Does that time ever come or no? That's not on your wristwatch that time? The time for you is not on your wristwatch? It's only about boys? Huh? When's the time that you invest in you? Which one? I can't see that one on the clock there. I don't think that hand exists. Which hour or minute is that one? The time that you invest in yourself? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Okay? That's why I say, let's be for real. Be so for real. Don't be focused your time and energy on what someone else wants. If someone else misses you or who cares? Who cares? If you can acknowledge that the relationship didn't work out for a reason and it should have ended because there wasn't anything good left there, then move forward. Do not keep yourself trapped in the cycle of staying attached to someone you're not even in a relationship with anymore because you're constantly thinking about, how can I get him to regret? What can I do to get my revenge? What can I do that he'll see and appreciate me for who cares if he appreciates you? He had his opportunity to appreciate you. Now you're moving forward. If he regrets losing you, cool. If he doesn't regret losing you, cool. You're not even spending your time thinking about it. That energy is focused on yourself. Okay? I know we do talk about men and relationships a lot on here, but I always try as much as I possibly can to stress to you guys, the best version of you and the most attractive version of you is always focused on yourself and looking inward. Even if you want to get a different response from the men, that comes by focusing inward on how you can elicit that response out of the men, not by focusing outward on really what the men want. The men just want confident, secure, attractive women. You can be all of that by investing in yourself, okay? You really don't have to do anything for the men to want you and be invested in you, as weird as it sounds. And actually, the more you try to do to get them invested in you and see you for who you are and see your value, the less they actually will. It's just how life works, okay? So we talked about reasoning, mindset, outcomes, attachment, focus. Now let's talk about disappointment, okay? If this dream scenario, this is the problem here. See, when you become so attached to this dream scenario of he's sitting outside of your door and he's holding up a boombox telling you how much he still loves you and how badly he still wants to be with you, right? When you become so attached to this scenario, hopefully happening one day, that you don't actually want to break up, you just hope that he realizes how he messed up, that he can hold a boombox outside of your window. The problem with this is you face a whole lot of disappointment. If one of two things happens, if this situation either never happens, meaning you never get to experience him holding a boombox out of your window, and you realize that you just holding out hope this entire time for a situation that never ends up showing itself to you, or he just ends up in a new relationship with a new girl, in which case the possibility of that happening has basically went out the window. And meanwhile, you're sitting there the entire time, sad as a dog with no ball to chase around, just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I spent all this time hoping that I would get my dream scenario with him holding his boombox out of my window. And I did everything I possibly could that situation would happen. I slept with this guy. I did this to make him jealous. I did that. I did everything I possibly could that he would regret losing me and come back crawling to me. And now he's in a relationship with a new girl. I'm literally broken. I'm literally broken on the floor. I feel worthless. Why? Do you feel that way? Why does that happen? Because all of your power has been given to him in the form of allowing him to be the person that validates you and tells you whether you're worth something or not. Even in the process of you breaking up with him, whether you broke up with him or he broke up with you or it was a mutual breakup, the fact that you have been so obsessed with whether or not he regrets losing you, you've given him so much power, even in the relationship ending, that when you finally realize that he's in a relationship with a new woman, or that this, after 1 or 2 years of you waiting around, you realize it's just never going to happen, this dream scenario with the boombox outside your window, you end up disappointed and deflated and feeling worthless because you feel like he never even liked you or appreciated you in the first place. And the reality of it is, whether or not that's true, it's irrelevant. It's truly irrelevant. Because at the end of the day, if you're not in that relationship anymore, and I know it sounds like such common sense when we're talking about it like this, if you're not in that relationship anymore, then it does not affect you or your life any longer. And you continuing to focus your time and energy on something that has no particular effect on the rest of the future of your life is quite a waste of your time. Right? Mahad says law of detachment is very true. Understanding how to properly detach yourself from people. And, when I go back and I put the description, by the way, for those of you guys who are always like, I want timestamps, I'm going to put timestamps in the videos from now on. So when I put the timestamps, I'm also going to pin the link to the video of how to detach from men emotionally, because this definitely applies to what we're discussing today. Because if you don't learn how to properly detach yourself from the relationships that are over and the situationships that are over, you're going to be in a very bad spiral of just doing the same thing over and over again, staying attached to the people who you're supposed to not be attached to because the relationship is over. And then you're doing this weird thing where you're just going in circles, and your whole life is just going in circles, making the same mistake with the same people over and over and over again. That is a miserable life. The only way for you to actually get happiness is, even if you experience bad things, even if you experience relationships that don't work out for you or aren't in your best interest or don't serve you how you need to be served, you can actually move forward. You have to be able to move forward. And that's part of the problem with this whole mindset of, how can I get him to regret losing me? How can I get him to, and becoming obsessed with that idea? You're not actually moving forward, especially if you're thinking about how to get him to regret losing you while he's actively growing new relationships with new women. Okay? I've been there as well. There's nothing more painful than waiting for someone to realize how much they want to be with you, only to realize they're with someone else. That is painful. So if that relationship is over and you know that that relationship is over for a reason, the best way to serve yourself is to actually start doing the things that are required of you to detach yourself from that relationship, that you can actually move forward and not be focused. Does he regret losing me? Does he still want to be with me? Does he still love me? Does he still like me? Is he going to show up at my house? When I return my clothes to him, are we going to have a conversation? And then are we going to get back together? When we come to see each other, are we going to get back together? When we see each other at this party, are we going to spark a conversation? And then are we going to become best friends again? And then are we going to grow our relationship again? Is he going to realize how much? Move forward with your life. That is the only way to see the results and have the relationship that you actually eventually want to have. Don't find yourself in a spiral, constantly hoping that Nate from Euphoria is going to come out of your house with a boombox, sneak into your bedroom, punch a whole bunch of walls, and tell you that he needs to have you back, or else he's going to pull the trigger on both of you. Okay? This is not Euphoria. Your boyfriend is not Nate. Okay? Let's be so for real. It will help you in the long run to be able to actually get the relationship you're seeking for and not be in a spiral of being in the same relationship that you already know wasn't working out for reasons you already know and were already aware of. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys so far? And what we discussed? Do any of you guys have any questions about what we just discussed? Okay. Deb says the key is to keep busy and focused on what you really, really want. I 100% agree. You have to stay focused on what matters to you and how you can continue investing into yourself. Okay. Etel says, what steps do we take? So the steps in terms of like what you would do in this scenario, you need to detach yourself from that man. I've actually made a whole live show dedicated to that. So I don't want to go so deep into it here because I went deep into it in that show where I literally titled it How to Detach Yourself from a Man Emotionally. If you're looking for that episode, I will put it in the pin it in the comments on my YouTube channel, because this is for those of you who are new on TikTok, this is also going live on my YouTube as well at the same time. So I'll put that link to that video as well, to that whole show in there, that you can watch that as well and understand this. Like I actually make it step by step on how you can best detach yourself from a man in a relationship that you can actually start moving forward and not be hoping that things are he's going to regret losing you. I'm going to be with him one day and he's going to realize everything that he did. Okay. Shelly Anna says, I actually get sick to my stomach if I get played. I get so hopeful for the future. Right? I actually think that it's good. It's good to get sick to your stomach about getting played, because then you'll start thinking about the ways and the strategies you can avoid getting played and how meticulous and detailed you have to be in gathering information and learning the real person, not the fake person, learning the real person to make a decision on what they're really here for. And like I always tell you guys, there's nothing wrong. I actually encourage you to be skeptical. Right? To be skeptical of people, especially the ones that you're dating, because that's a stranger. That's a stranger whom you've never met before. So there's a process to learning and understanding that stranger before you should ever be thinking about committing yourself to that stranger. Okay? When I say committing yourself, I really mean you giving away Squirtle. You should know what I mean by that. Okay? Z says, why as women do we get attached to men so quickly at the beginning? Well, I mean, we're all different human beings and we all see things slightly differently. Well, I shouldn't say we're different human beings. Men and women are different in the way that they think and process information. There's lots of ways in which we are similar, but there's a lot of ways as well in which we are different in the way we think and go about life. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not meant to be the same. Okay? And also, that actually makes me think as well, because I've seen some people that were like watching my YouTube video about how men view pineapples, and they were like, how can you possibly relate that to being starving? How can you possibly relate being aged or having a hunger for, or having a pineapple drive to being starving? That doesn't make any sense. That's literally life or death versus wanting pineapples is literally not life or death. And that's why I'm trying to get you guys to understand. That's why I'm here, is because when I explain to you the male perspective, some things that I say about how we process and approach things and think about life is not going to make sense to you. And it's not necessarily meant to make complete sense to you because you're a woman, and that's okay. The same way, there are some things for us as men that don't make sense to us based on the way you think and process information. That is okay. The best thing for me and you is to try to understand the perspective that you can better understand the way we think and process information and figure out how that knowledge you can utilize to your advantage, rather than just saying, you shouldn't think like that. That's not true. That doesn't that's the wrong way. No, that's wrong. Everything is wrong. It doesn't necessarily have to be, doesn't make it wrong because it's not your perspective or because you find it hard to view it that way. Okay. Just keep that in mind. Deb also says, use shadow work as to to work as focus, I agree. Shadow work is good. Shadow work is advanced for some of you that may be new here to some of the things that we discussed, but I do think shadow work would be good as well, right? And Lightning says, guess now you'll have time to answer all the Discord questions. We'll definitely get to the Discord. By the way, for those of you who want to ask me your question, please make sure that you put it in the Discord that you can get your question relationship situation answered. For those of you who don't know, if you're on TikTok and you want to answer your question, get your question answered in the Discord, just go into the link in my bio. For those of you who are on YouTube, just go down in the bottom of the description where you can get your question answered from the Discord. I just want to answer a few more here as well. Taz out says, I'm working on getting a new job, updating resume, applying LinkedIn, working networking, and also buying properly Bitcoin and move countries. Big goals. I'm so proud of you, Tazal. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Yes, I'm proud of you. See, there's lots of things you can be focusing your time and energy on when you actually get to sit down and think about what you want, what your needs are, what you care about, what you're fascinated by, what you're passionate about. So many things. Other than just thinking about, does he regret losing me? Well, he's not going to regret losing you if you're sitting on your couch sad about him. He'll only regret losing you if you're actually doing something with your life, truthfully. Right? Very, 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 very true. Okay. Let's hop into the Discord. It's Discord time. It's Discord time. It's Discord time. It's Discord time. Da-na-na. It's Discord time. Da-na-na. It's Discord time. Da-na-na. It's Discord time. Look at my eyes. It's Discord time. Look at my eyes. It's Discord time. All right, let's do this. So we got a ton. We got a ton. We have a ton of questions. Actually, why am I crying? It's good. We have a ton of questions to answer on Discord, so I got to get to it. So let's start off here on Discord. So let's get right to it. We got Pretty Peach. No, Pretty Peach's original message was deleted, unfortunately. So Pretty Peach does not get her question answered. So we have M here. M says, can this situation develop? All right, let's open up M's situation here. I met a guy at a bar about a month ago. I was there with my friend group, and same with him. He was with his friend group. There was 3 other guys that approached me that day, but I didn't like them. When I saw him, I told my friends I find him attractive. We had small eye contact. My friends insisted to do something about it. They have been really determined to find a proper guy for me lately. So sweet. One of my friends, guy friend, just approached him, even though I wanted to stop him from doing it. Okay. He approached him and told him he has a friend that found him attractive. Are we in high school? What are we doing here? You're at a bar, so I'm assuming you're 21. This is high school behavior. Okay. He was positively surprised, and he brought him to talk to me. That's a bit much. See, okay, I'm going to pause here. There's a couple of problems here. Even when you get someone to, you see, you're the woman. Even, I know you didn't mean for your friend to do this, and I know your guy friend meant well when he was trying to do this for you. The problem is now you just put this man in a position of receiving. He didn't come seeking you out. Yes, you guys were making eye contact, but your friend approached him on your behalf. Obviously, you didn't tell him to go, but he went for you. Now he's just come to the situation in a position of receiving. You're the one that kind of has to show him how interesting and fun you are, and you're like already at a disadvantage because you're basically now doing the pursuing because your friend went up to him. This is actually kind of funny. This is something I stopped doing myself because I realized that my situations usually end up like this, and it's better to just not say anything. I've realized that if I don't plan on actually going up to the person, Or if I'm not sure about going up to the person, it's better for me to just not say anything to my friends. It doesn't so much happen anymore, but I'm saying like in the past, because I realized things like this happen. If your friend approaches them or says something like, oh, she finds you cute or he finds you cute, whatever, you're like at a disadvantage now, because now that person is in complete control where he doesn't have to do anything. He knows you find him attractive. He knows you're into him to the point where your friend on your behalf went out to pursue him. So it just puts you in a very precarious situation. Precarious just means a very weird situation where now you're kind of in the position where, what are you going to do? He can't bring him over and then you sit there and wait for him to ask you what's your name and get to know you, right? You kind of now have to do the job of like, well, if your friend brought him over, you kind of now have to entertain him, so to speak. Okay, let's go on. We started talking and he asked for my Insta. I approved his request only a day after. After 2 days, he texted me. We talked and he asked for my number. Okay, this is good. We started talking more and it was going well. He seems really cute and a good person. At some point, he went suddenly cold. It was short after I discovered he is a first-year student and I already finished my degree. So you're what, 4 years older than him at the very least? P.S. In my country, people start studying late after army, so it's okay. I'm 27, he's 25. Okay, so only 2 years difference. I didn't do the army duty because of personal reasons directly started degree, okay? After 2 days of not talking, I texted him in the evening, what's up, as we were going to the same bar with my friends. My friend encouraged me to text him. Your friend's either very single or has been in a relationship so long that they don't understand how to like do it the right way, especially as a woman. You should not be pursuing. That was a mistake. So you go on to say, since then, he's been watching my stories, but not giving any sign, only following me on Insta. Currently, we're not talking. I'm in contact with 2 other guys. Can this situation have continuation, or what would be the right thing for me to do? I understand I can't really initiate anything, but I would like to get him to talk to me. I know we're in different stages of our lives, but he's really cute and I would like to get to know him. By the way, we didn't go out on a date. Okay. Thank you very much, Em, for this question. You know, as disappointing as my answer will be, truthfully and honestly, the only thing you can do is nothing. Because any version of you taking action, this is I guess the downfall of being a woman. The only thing, taking action is pursue. As soon as you start pursuing that guy, he's not going to be in his masculine, and you're not even going to have a guy who's really that interested in you. So when you're in a situation like this where he's kind of been hot and cold, the only option you have is to take a step back and realize that, okay, if you guys go to the same bar, there's a possibility you guys might run into each other again. And in that possibility in which you guys run into each other again, maybe he'll strike a conversation with you and want to speak to you and realize how much he wants you. Maybe not. But this is why it's also important to properly be able to detach yourself from the idea that it has to be someone specific. I know you think that he's cool and you enjoy talking to him, but keep in mind, you met him at a bar, you had small eye contact, and then a little bit of small talk, at that bar. After that, you were talking on Insta and it was really just text. You never went on that date. So all of this stuff that you're like, he's really cute and you want to get to know him, that's all the butterflies of him being new and the fact that you don't know him. That's why you're excited to know him. But keep in mind that there are still lots of aspects to him and his personality that you might not like and you might not enjoy when you finally do get to know him. And a lot of what you're feeling now is the excitement of the fact that you can project onto him whatever personality or character that you want him to have. So it's very important to understand that it's not the end of the world if you don't go out on a date with this random guy simply because he's a random guy with flaws and that does things you might not like, that maybe might not be your cup of tea. And realizing that is a good thing to help yourself detach from the idea that, look, if it's not him, it's okay. My life is still good, even if it's not him. Okay? You do not want to be building up your own internal anxiety that you feel like you have to be in a relationship with him or else, or you have to get him to talk to you because this is the only guy in your life for you. You understand what I'm saying? Allow yourself to just accept the fact that if he sees you at the bar and he wants to talk to you, he will. If he has your number, if he wants to text you, he will. He has your number. If he wants to call you, he will. He knows where to find you. He knows who your friends are. If he really wanted to be with you and take you out on a date, he would do that. And reside yourself to the understanding that it is at this point outside of your control. And leave it. See, this is why you have to, there are some things you do have to leave to the universe to take control of, because they're outside of your control and you can't stress about those things. This is one of those things. You have to let go that if he really wants to be with you, that he will show you that. And you don't need to do anything, especially as the woman, to force that to happen. Men are the pursuers. You need to let go and receive if he's there and interested in giving. Okay. Next we have here, let's see, look how much I'm scrolling. We have Baby Bliss. I see a lot of Baby Blisses. Maybe everyone's just using the same username. I'm 25 and the guy is in his late 20s. I'm joining female football practice soon and there's a guy I'm interested in. Okay. He's one of the coaches. Interesting. He's well known in the community and has a good social media status. Excuse me. I was wondering if you had any tips on how to get him to notice me and chase me. How do I set up the dynamic so I have the upper hand? We have never talked before. I'm interested in getting to know him if the interest is mutual. Please give me an idea on how to get him to notice me, as well as how to have the upper hand once we start talking to get him to ask me on a date. Okay, Baby Bliss. This is quite interesting, and this is a hard topic for me to cover whenever you guys ask me questions like this, simply because we talk a lot about manipulation and emotions on this show. However, I need us to accept the reality, because I'm not here to sell you guys a magic potion. I need us to accept the reality that we will not be everyone's cup of tea. When I say we, I mean us as individuals. And that's okay, right? It's very important, like I always tell you guys, to detach yourself from the idea that it has to be one particular person. Allow yourself the possibility that you can grow or develop a relationship with anyone, anywhere, at any time in ways you never thought possible. And the reason I say that is because I understand you want to see how you can best position yourself to get the right approach from him. But I also want you to understand, if he's just not interested in you, there's really not anything that you can do to just magically get him interested in you. Okay? As much as I tell you guys to invest in yourself and focus on yourself and build your own confidence and all that good stuff, even when you do that, I don't want you guys doing that solely because you want one particular guy to like you and want to ask you out. I want you to do that because you know that's what you should be doing. And Baby Bliss, in your situation, I don't know the extent of your relationship with this guy, but if you're saying you've never talked before and he's never really reached out to you, shown you any favorable treatment or tried to flirt with you or anything like that, you also have to accept the fact that he just might not be interested in you romantically. And like, that's okay. And I don't think that requires you to like start doing more stuff to get him more interested in you, even though he's not that interested in you. Okay. And I think in your scenario, the best thing you can continue doing is continuing investing in yourself. Play your football, go to your practice, go to practice because you like going to practice, and don't go to practice because you're trying to get a boyfriend out of your coach. Go to practice because that's what you're there for, and that's what you enjoy, and detach yourself from the outcome of, I have to go to this football practice and build a relationship with my coach who becomes my husband. allow yourself the space to just go to the practice because you enjoy it and you're passionate about it, and play the football because that's what you enjoy doing. If he does come and talk to you and start pursuing you, then he does so. If he doesn't, cool. Also, your life is still great regardless, because I guarantee you, I know we talk about energy and spirituality a lot on the show. And for some of you, you might be like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But I promise you, the more you become anxious about, oh, I want him to talk to me so bad. I need this to happen so bad. Oh my God, if I could just, have a conversation with him so bad, and then he'll realize how amazing I am and how much he wants me, the less it will happen. I promise you, the moment you let it go and just act normal and start focusing on yourself, that is when you'll begin attracting a lot of people towards you. Okay? Because the way it's going now, the more you're focusing on, oh my God, what does he think? Does he want to talk to me? Well, can I bend over so that he'll see my dump truck and realize how much he wants to talk? Like, you'll just become obsessed. And by the time he does start talking to you, you'll be quick to do the pursuing because of how badly you want him and want him to be in a relationship with you. Right? You'll quickly and very easily, with any attention he shows you, start chasing him in return. And then he'll take a step back and everything will go downhill from there. Okay. So just hold your water, baby bliss. Go to practice, enjoy practice. Let him come to you if he finds you interesting. Okay. Crystal asks, let's see here. Crystal asks, I gave him the ick. Now I think my chance is over. Okay, chat. This should be interesting. Let's see what happens here. Okay, Crystal got a story. Crystal got a story. Okay, Crystal, let's buckle up here. Okay. So Crystal starts off. Me, 26. I've been talking with this guy, 23-year-old, a male, for about a month. In the beginning, he was pursuing me and showing a lot of interest. And I noticed that his profile was no longer on Tinder. So you mean he was showing you a lot of interest over Tinder? We don't text as often and have only had 2 hangouts. The first hangout was great. Okay. The second hangout Friday ended off bad. I thought this hangout was going to be more of like a date since he was taking me to a live concert, which is free. Okay. I dressed really cute for that event. We then went to his place and played basketball. Where does he have a basketball court in his house, or like a play hoop? What's going on? He was really playful and handsy. I remember he asked if this was pineapple-y, but I told him no because I didn't see it as much. Sorry, that was weird to read. We then went to a park nearby and I sat next to him on the bench. He put his arm around me, so I thought this confirmed this hangout was more of a romantic side than a platonic side. Okay, it sounds like that to me too. What happened? He didn't say much though. I got worried and started asking him what's wrong. I was yapping. Oh, yapping not good. Yapping bad. I guess he just wanted to be more in the moment. Afterwards, he let go of me and got on his phone to order some food. What kind of food? I hungry. We placed our orders and he asked me to Venmo him half for the takeout. Didn't you just say you played basketball at his house? You played basketball at his place. Okay, so let's assume it's like a play hoop, not a court. Because I was like, if he's stinking rich, even still, Venmo for takeout? Come on. We ordered takeout since he doesn't like eating at restaurants, okay? I think that's cap. This is getting bad. I told him that I won't Venmo him because if he paid for it, then it would be a date. But if I paid for it, then we would be just friends. He tells me we are friends. I was confused because that means he had been giving me mixed signals for a whole month. Oh, this is not good. He ends up placing the order. Before we pick it up, we stop at a Hispanic grocery store and I ask him what he's going to get. He jokes and says, I'm getting a spicy Latina. By the way, I'm not Latina. I'm sorry. I don't know why I found that funny. I don't know why that was funny to me. Okay. We pick up the food and head back to his place. He ate and drank most of my food. He, he ate and drank most of my food. He's a big back. Okay. I'm sorry, yo. You're a comedian, Crystal. You funny for real. All right. While waiting for someone. This dude, he made you tag along so he would have extra money for the food he was about to order, and you would pitch for half and he would have twice the food. It's crazy. While waiting for my Uber, I asked if it would be weird to give him a kiss. You gave him a kiss after he ate all your damn food that you paid for. He said yes immediately. Oh, so he gets food and a kiss. I wanted to give him a kiss on the cheek though. And initially he thought I wanted it. What? What? Initially he thought I wanted to give him a bit. Did I miss something? I wanted to give him a kiss on the cheek. And he thought I wanted to give him a beat. Where did that come from? I feel like you missed like a couple I don't know what's going on. I'm confused. Now his profile is back on Tinder. Is it over for me and him? So did you meet on Tinder? I'm assuming you met on Tinder. You just didn't point that out because you mentioned his Tinder profile twice, which is not good. Whenever you're meeting guys on Tinder, not good. I also want to add, I did not Venmo him for his meal. Good. And we didn't do anything pineapple-y. I thought I was being casual, but maybe I came off as clingy. I didn't text him after that, but on Sunday, he sends me a random text about a web page. I responded relatively quickly, 16 minutes. He hasn't texted me back since. Yeah. Why would he send me such mixed signals? And I was coming off as being, needy or desperate? I'm also not on Tinder. We met in real life. He did mention he was on Tinder before, so I made a fake profile to stalk. Okay. We're also in the same friend group. So why did you make a fake profile to stalk if you're in the same friend group and you know of him? And we're going out for lunch on Tuesday. So in the friend group, I'd like to go, but I don't want to see him right now. Also, should I clear it up that I wanted to kiss him on the cheek, not give him a real kiss? Crystal, be so for real. Like, be so for real. You're not giving your good friends kisses on cheeks, okay? So like, don't try to hide behind it was just meant to be a kiss on the cheek, because if he would have put the right pressure on you, I guarantee you would have been fine with kissing him on. Let's just be so for real. Like, let's not do this where we're adults here, okay? Let's be so for real. I felt insulted when he thought I wanted to give him BJ. Okay, that is understandable. That doesn't mean just because you want to give him a kiss that you're gonna give him a BJ. That's different. Honestly, I was planning on clearing things up and keeping my distance. What should I do? Okay, so I think part of the reason you don't want to see him is because you're a bit embarrassed about how that situation ended up. There's nothing wrong with being embarrassed, but like, acknowledge that it's because you're a little bit embarrassed. Secondly, this kiss, so that you wanted to kiss him. Like, let's be for real, okay? Let's not do that. The disrespect started when he was assuming you were going to give him BJ. I honestly think from his perspective, from being a guy and knowing what goes on with guys, I think the process of you being in the friend group makes it very casual for him, where he thinks to himself, if I can extract Squirtle from you because you're already interested in me, that's a win for me. You're in the friend group regardless, so extracting Squirtle from someone who's already in the friend group and I'm already casual with, cool win for me. It doesn't even require me to do a lot of work, and I can actually pass a lot of the stuff that we don't do that isn't romantic under the guidelines of friendship. What I mean by that is, for example, he doesn't have to take you out on dates because you're part of the friend group and you're a friend of his. He also doesn't have to pay for your food because you're part of the friend group and you're one of his friends. So everything can be casual, where we go out to eat together because we both want to get something to eat, not because I'm taking you out on a date. We're friends, right? And so that's all good and dandy for him, because now he gets to spend less money. He gets to be less intentional. He gets to play around, text you whenever he feels like, make everything super casual. But then when you do hang out, now he's trying to see, okay, how far can I go with this friendship? Okay, I ain't paying for no damn meals, but will you help me? Will you let me slide my hand down your pants? Okay. And he's basically trying to see how far he can get by giving you nothing. Okay. Keep it friendly where when it comes time to take you out on a date or be like your boyfriend, but when it comes time to do anything pineapple-y or do anything intimate, oh, now all of a sudden, yeah, he's ready to do a little bit more. Typical guy stuff. Like, he's not a bad person because this is his approach. I just think that you're putting yourself in the situation where you're not allowing yourself to have any clarity in the relationship, where you're sitting around and he's telling you, yeah, we're just friends. Actually, can you pay for 50% of the meal that I'm going to eat? Actually, pay for 50% of the meal. I'm going to eat all of it. And you're sitting around hoping that one day he's going to come out and say, you know what? Even though you're in this friend group, I actually want to be in a long-term serious relationship with you and make you my girlfriend. When in reality, that's never going to happen, Crystal. Okay, I want to tell you the truth. And I think that you're holding out a lot of hope now for a man who really is just waiting to see how far he can get with you with some properly applied pressure. Okay. And I don't think that I think the only thing that this does is hurt your ability to continue being in this friend group, because after a while of you guys continuing to mess with each other, someone's going to have to get abolished from the friend group one way or another. It's not, the more you guys mess with each other, the more it's going to be, once it gets messy, one person's going to have to stop being in this friend group. And unless you are okay with that being you, my advice to you would be to stop messing with this guy on this level outside of just being part of the friend group, because you're only going to end up messing up this friend group, especially when this guy doesn't even want to date you in the first place. He just wants things to be super casual. He's already said that with his words, and he's showing you that as well. So don't waste your time, Crystal. Okay. Next we have Dante. Interesting. I'm playing the game, right? Let's see. Okay. I'm 22, female. I don't want to chase guys. Good. But I don't know how to make them chase me. Okay. I'm interested in a guy. He flirted last year. I was in a relationship and didn't care about it. I'm outgoing, love joking and chatting, while he's quiet and easygoing, becoming more affectionate once he opens up. He's not shy. I was interested for 2 months. I was nervous around him. I'd get shy, try to start conversations, and then avoid him because of my nerves. I confessed 2 weeks ago. Because of my nerves, I confessed 2 weeks ago. Okay. Despite realizing my interest during that time, it was pretty obvious he didn't act on it. So I assumed he didn't care. That's why I confessed. However, his first response was, I knew what were you doing on Friday? Oh, like he already knew that you liked him. So now he's asking you on a date. He mentioned a party. We had to go with our friends. But when I asked for clarification, he said he wasn't sure about his feelings towards me. This left me confused. I took it more as a no than a yes. At the party, he approached me first, but I felt a little nervous and didn't engage much. While I talked to other friends all the time, when I did talk to him, he seemed distant. I spoke with a mutual friend that said that the guy feels uncertain despite our friend's encouragement, but didn't elaborate. Later that evening, the guy asked if I'd be at Monday's lesson and seemed distant that day too. I saw it as rejection and changed my behavior. Last Friday, I wasn't shy or nervous at all. He responded more to my jokes. I engaged with him. He seemed more relaxed. I was too. Another guy flirted with me and I mentioned it to see his reaction. He seemed normal. We went to the guy's house and he became more engaged with me, joking, laughing, and staying close, even hugging me. When my friend and I left at 5 a.m., what was this, a 2-man? You went on a 2-man with you and your girlfriend? He joked at the door and pretended to blow me a kiss. How old is this guy? I'm assuming he's around your age, 22. He's blowing you kisses? All right. Everyone has their thing. Pretending to blow kisses, and I pretended to prefer a handshake to joke with him. Later on, later on the street, he even climbed out of the window to wave goodbye and continue joking. Corny. Okay. I don't know what to think. What should I do? Okay. Good question, Dante. All right. I think in your scenario, you're dealing with a guy who doesn't actually know what he wants. See, this is the thing. I want you guys to understand that in order for men to pursue you and be intentional with you, you have to understand it has to first start with him and his intention with himself and knowing what he wants for himself. Unfortunately, actually, probably over 85% of men, probably closer to 90% of men don't know what they want out of life, out of relationships, out of anything. They're just followers. And so I say that to say sometimes you will encounter men that are super unintentional with you because they're unintentional with themselves and they don't even know what they want. So when they meet a girl like you, even though they might like you, even though they might be interested in you, they don't even know if you fit the criteria of what they're looking for because they don't even know what they're looking for. You understand what I'm saying? And the problem with that is you become confused because you're like, do you like me and want to build a relationship with me? Or are you just trying to be my friend? But the thing about it is he's actually also confused because he doesn't know if he likes you and wants to build a relationship with you or if he just wants you to be your friend. That's why I also tell you guys to write down your own wish list of all the things that you want in a partner and in a husband. If I was speaking to guys, I would tell them that's the number one very first thing they need to do, because you need to be able to, if you're going to pursue women or pursue anyone, or pursue anything, you need to first know what it is you're actually even pursuing in the first place so that you can know if you're actually coming across that thing or moving in the right direction. For this guy that you met, Dante, I think you just had the unfortunate misfortune of meeting a guy, the misfortune of meeting a guy who does not have his own direction yet and is still probably discovering himself and realizing what it is he wants, which is why he finds it difficult to communicate to you what it is he wants and finds it difficult to be super intentional with you, unfortunately. So that's kind of the problem there, is because as a guy is unintentional, as he doesn't know what he wants, it's very difficult for him to lead you because he's confused also. And even though you might like him and be interested in him, the reality of it is, as the woman, as the feminine energy, you need someone who has that direction and it can lead at least himself before he can even try and possibly lead you. And so if he cannot do that, then it's going to be very hard for you guys to build a real relationship with each other. So unfortunately, Dante, I think you really have to sit back and wait for him to show you if he wants to be intentional with you. And the only time you take him serious is if he starts taking the relationship serious. And I don't even think it's necessary for you to continuously ask him what he wants or if he takes this serious or what he feels about you, because he will show you that. And if he's not showing you that consistently, then he's not there. He's not being what you need him to be. And I think at that point, when you realize that after a while, you're going to have to detach yourself from the situation, because you can't sit around waiting for an unintentional man to be intentional with you when he doesn't even know how to be intentional with himself or his own life. Okay. That's that's part of the problem when you're dating younger. I don't know how old this guy is, but when you're either dating young in the age physically or dating young in the mindset, where he hasn't matured yet enough to know what he wants out of life, know how he fits in the world, know what direction he's going, that he can then be intentional in your relationship. It's the same reason why I don't give people advice who are under 20 years old, because the men you're meeting when you're under 20 years old, assuming you're dating people of your same age, they have no idea what they want out of life or what they're doing or what direction they should be going in if they're 19, 18 years old, 17 years old. So that's why I say that, for the same reason. And you might just be encountering a guy who is still emotionally immature and it doesn't quite know yet where he wants to be or what direction he's going in. Okay. Next we have IC. I think we did ICs. This might be a new one. Maybe someone else just named IC. Hi, Tomisin. I've been waiting to ask you about this since I saw your TikToks, how to turn friends with benefits into a relationship. Okay. My story is quite simple. 8 years ago, I met this guy. I was 17. He was almost 16. Instantly, I fell in love with him. You were 17. You fell in love at 17. Instantly. And you think that was love? And after 1 month of constantly kissing and going out, we tried to have a relationship for like 3 days. How old are you now? I almost don't want to answer this. How old are you now? Okay, you said 8 years ago. Okay. Because I was about to say, this is like some super high 3-day relationship. But he wasn't ready for commitment. For about 1 year, we continued to kiss and sometimes sleep together. At 17, y'all doing that? You got to keep an eye on these kids nowadays. And sometimes sleep together in the same bed, no pineapples. And after that, we decided to be friends with benefits. He was my first guy I slept with. Back then, we fought a lot and couldn't communicate effectively. But over the years, we got to know each other on a deeper level. I was deeply in love with him the whole time and even now. Okay. We still meet from time to time to spend time together and feel good. Pineapples included. He always sleeps at my place. I don't see any part here where you mention he's your boyfriend. All right? I just see friends with benefits. I don't see any boyfriend talk. I don't see any relationship talk. Interesting. The main fact is that at the beginning, I was kind of worried because I put him on a pedestal. Clearly, you fell in love with him instantly. Never believing that he would want to be with me in a relationship. As you believe it to be so shall it be. Over time, I started loosening up around him and being more relaxed. We could communicate better and we opened up to each other. Now we are both very attracted to each other. Are you? Or is this a projection? Because you're saying you're very attracted to each other, yet in 8 years' time of knowing you and having all of these amazing experiences with you, he hasn't made you his girlfriend. I don't want to diss you, I see, but I just have to point that out as a fact. 8 years has gone by and he hasn't, despite you falling instantly in love and loving him every day since, he has not yet come to the realization that despite all the pineapples you've had, despite all the sleepovers, despite all the experiences you shared together, he has not come to the realization that he needs and wants you to be his girlfriend. That's quite interesting when you say how much you want to be in a relationship with him and how attracted to each other. Sorry, not even attracted. You said how attached you are to each other. Does he feel that way? But I was the one loving him all these years. Oh, okay. So you realize that. Okay. You're smarter than I thought. The feeling doesn't even bother me anymore. Oh. Okay. I think I always will be fond of him more or less and happy with any outcome of the situation at this point. So you're just okay being a side piece. Cool. You don't mind? I don't mind. This year, I rejected him because he has a girlfriend. So I couldn't try your TikTok step-by-step advice on this, but I'm curious what you think about my particular situation and if you think it could be possible to turn it into a relationship if I ever want to. Okay, I see. Absolutely not. I'm going to break it down for you very simple, okay? 8 years he spent knowing you, and probably 7 years he spent sleeping with you. Let's just assume 7.5. In 7.5 years of sleeping with you since you were 17 years old, he has not come to the realization that he wants you to be his girlfriend. Actually, in that time span, he's come to the realization that he wanted someone else to be his girlfriend. So that should tell you he's in the market for being in a relationship, just not in the market of being in a relationship with you. I hate to tell you this as blatantly and as this, but this guy does not care to be romantic with you. And this attachment that you think that you have with him is not real. What it actually is a comfortability that he knows anytime he comes back to you, if he's lonely or if he's aged up, if a lot of blood flow is going to his lower extremities, he can come back to old reliable. You're like a Honda Civic, okay? He can come back to old reliable, spend some time with you, maybe have a little chit chat with you and sleep with you. You're so fond of him. You're so obsessed with him. You have put him on so much of a pedestal. You'll do absolutely anything for him, no matter how long it's been because you think you have such a close bond and attachment to him. What he's actually doing is bonding himself with your Squirtle, but he has no attachment to you, which is why he found it very easy to go ahead and have a girlfriend. Meanwhile, you're sitting on the sidelines sad, asking me questions about how you can get him to see you and view you as what he already views other women as, right? In the 8 years of you knowing him, and what he's already made other women in probably less time, because let's assume that he knew her less time, the girl that's his girlfriend now, less time than he's known you for. So it took other girls less time to become the girlfriend, something you've been seeking for basically 8 years, almost a decade, that you've never gotten. And you're still attached to this man, giving him Squirtle for no reason other than you love him so much. Meanwhile, he's over here giving himself to other women as well and bonding himself to other women as well. And you're thinking about how you can turn this into a relationship. It's never going to happen. Okay? It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. And the faster you realize that it's never going to happen, actually, the better off your life will be, because that will be the first day you are able to properly move forward with your life and actually find your own relationship that brings you happiness, instead of being attached and bonded to this guy that you slept, the first guy you lost your V card to. Okay. I know that's a special moment for you. And there's lots of emotional attachment to that guy and that situation and that experience and all that good stuff. But I want you to understand, it's been almost a decade and you're still talking about a guy who has a girlfriend now. I see. That's very sad. That's very sad, and you will only end up bringing yourself more and more pain the longer time goes on, where you sit around hoping that one day he'll realize that it's you he wants to be with. If it's almost been a decade and he hasn't realized that, I'm sorry to tell you, I see he's never going to realize that. Okay? You're better off moving forward instead of staying stagnant, waiting for that day to come. Okay? I'm sorry to be mean. That sounded mean. But if you're in this situation, you need a wake-up call. Okay? That's my advice to you. Next we have M. M says, how do I get out of this? Okay. M asks, hello, I'm 23, female. I'm seeing a guy, 20 male, on a regular basis, like every 3 weeks. We've known each other since 7 months. Okay. He's my classmate in school and sits 2 chairs away from me. So it started with him texting me, oversharing with him about my personal issues. Just doing everything wrong. Self-esteem okay. I want to talk to you guys about this. See, I always tell you guys, you're not trying to open up to everyone. You're only trying to open up to the people you can trust. When you just start dating a guy, that does not mean you can trust him. When you just start seeing to a guy, it does not mean you can trust him. Use this spilling, trauma dumping, save that for your girlfriends, okay? Don't do that with the guys you're trying to be romantic with, especially not at the beginning. See, you have to understand, people are going to view you how you view yourself, especially romantically, especially at the beginning. When you're telling him all your self-esteem issues, I know you think you're opening up to him, but what you're actually helping him do is realize how much issues you do have. And it's much like the idea of, if we're sitting together at a table and I tell you, oh my gosh, I can't pop this pimple. This pimple is so huge on my forehead. And that's the first time you notice the pimple on my forehead. And right after I tell you that, now all you can notice on my face is my huge pimple. When before I pointed that out, it probably was a lot harder for you to notice, right? It's kind of the same thing here. The moment you start pointing out to people all your flaws and insecurities, that's actually what they start seeing themselves. And so it makes you a lot less attractive when you do that, when you trauma dump on people all your self-esteem issues and flaws and insecurities, because that's exactly what they see in you too. Even if they're like, oh no, but it's okay. Oh no, but you're still pretty. Oh no, but you're still awesome and all that stuff. What ends up happening is now he's in a position where he has to build you up. And he doesn't feel like you have that confidence in yourself. Funny, I didn't even read this yet. He helped lift me up with words. Okay? I know you think that's good, but in reality, now he feels like he's above you. Okay. Because now he feels like without him, you won't have the confidence to go about life in any sort of fashion. You need him in your life in order to have confidence and self-worth within yourself. It's not good for you because it doesn't help him see you as a whole individual, right? And he's definitely not going to be worshiping you. But one time he invited me to go to the gym together, and later I was hungry, so he suggested we go on an all-you-can-eat to an all-you-can-eat restaurant nearby, and he paid for everything. Okay. On our way back, we had to run to catch the bus, so he intertwined our hands together to hold with me while running while reaching the bus stop. Okay, you're living a little bit of a Wattpad story like that. I get that you like that, but I don't understand the relevance. I then, I think you meant to say, took my hand back from him a day later and texted him that made me feel awkward and that I just like him as a friend and nothing more. I'm confused. If you only like him as a friend, what is this all for? He accepted it, but kept pushing to me and always at his apartment. He also is in the mindset that a woman should say, I love you, to the man first, and that the woman should satisfy I think you might say the woman should satisfy the man. Or did you really mean say the woman should satisfy the woman? That what he said? So last time we met at his apartment after going to the gym, he didn't want me to leave and wanted to hug me and then dragged me into his bed and said just a few more minutes. That's what he did? He dragged you into his bed against your will. Just a few more minutes. Like, let's be so for real. You enjoyed that validation, right? I left way later than I wanted. Surprise, surprise. Okay. So now you see what I mean by guys will apply pressure to see how easy it is to break you. I always tell you guys that. Okay. So now he wants me to buy him a ring as his late. I don't understand. I don't understand what is being, this is in Swahili. So I don't understand what these words mean in this particular sequence here. So now he wants me to buy him a ring as his late birthday gift. What do these tell me, what do these particular symbols and letters mean in this particular arrangement here? Because I think this one is in Swahili. This one is not in English. Okay? Because he didn't get one from me. He didn't gift me anything for my birthday. Just one day at school, gifted me earrings and 2 other girls lipstick. On your birthday, he gifted you and some other girls stuff. This one in Swahili, this one. And he calls the girls he talks to my best friend. Should I gift him the ring? I thought you were just saying that just to say that as like he's being ridiculous. You're actually curious if you should gift him the ring. You're actually questioning if you should gift him the ring. Wow. The answer is no, but we'll get to that. Or should I give him his earrings back and return the ring back to where I bought it from? Oh, you actually got the ring for him. Like it's already in your possession. Oh, this is not good. How do I stop him from taking advantage of me? I mean, you got him the ring, so he already has. He also keeps asking from time to time to meet at his place and what I am doing on the weekend, I could tell him I have a boyfriend. What are you doing here? I made a promise to myself to never go to his place or the gym with him again. What are you doing here? I'm confused what you're doing here or even trying to accomplish here. Why would you purchase a ring for a guy you're not even trying to be in a relationship with? If you want to tell him you have a boyfriend, why are you even entertaining him okay. This is why validation can be a very dangerous monster. Because like M, you can find yourself in a situation where you're solely doing things for validation that you don't even want the result of. Because in this scenario, M enjoys the validation, because let's be so for real. M didn't stay later cuddled up in the bed because he forced her to do that. She loved the fact that he was pursuing her, which is why she left way later. Okay? She wanted to leave, she probably could have just left. Nobody forced her to get the ring. Nobody forced you. You did that because you wanted to. You enjoy the idea that he might want you and he validates you and makes you feel good about yourself. You said it at the beginning, you're insecure and your self-esteem is low. So the process of this, him wanting you and wanting to be with you, makes you feel really good about yourself and makes you feel self-validated. Here's the problem though. See, you're contradicting yourself because you're saying that you want to tell him you have a boyfriend, and then you're also going as far to present to me like you don't really want him or you're not that interested in him. You even told him that. So here's the thing. You're not interested in him, if that's what's true, but you're interested in the validation he has to offer you, to the point where you will actually do the things that are in line with being interested in him, but just because of how badly you want to be validated by him, even though you don't actually want to be in a relationship with him, which is why you're actually confused on what you should be doing. Because you're not sure if you should do more things to get more validation, but if that's going to make you seem like you're actually interested. You're considering buying a gift for a guy that you want to tell you have a boyfriend. Even if that was true, let's just say hypothetically you did have a boyfriend, why would you be purchasing a gift for a man that is not your boyfriend, that you just met, that is trying to cuddle you in the bed and tell you to stay a little bit while he presses his penile over your squirtle or over your butt in this case? What type of friendship is that? Would that be appropriate if you actually had a boyfriend? So I'm trying to follow the logic train here. What are you trying to accomplish? Because it seems like all you really want is validation. And I feel like rather than going to him and doing this whole rigmarole of back and forth, where you're wasting his time. If you don't plan on being in a relationship with him, you're wasting his time. Doing this whole rigmarole, you're better off solving this issue right here. Why your self-esteem is low and why you're so insecure and why you need that external validation from other people, specifically men. You're better off figuring out how you can fulfill that you don't find yourself in weird situations like this. You're literally trying to validate yourself with the affection of a guy you don't even find romantically interesting. Think about how twisted that is. Literally. And how insane your situation has gotten in terms of your desire to seek validation when you're literally doing this for the sole reason of the validation, not even because you're interested in him. To the point where, and this is part of what I talked about to you guys before in another episode, how the men can bait you into chasing them. See, now you've become so desperate for that validation that you're actually going to start pursuing, you're already doing it now, but you're starting to pursue him instead because you're looking to continuously receive that same level of validation. See, here's the thing. You've gotten so accustomed to this validation he'll give you. If he ever were to take some of this back from you, you'll be so desperate to receive that again in the same quantity that you were receiving before that you'll start pushing and pushing and pushing and pursuing more. You'll start buying him rings. You'll start doing more. You'll start coming over to his house. Eventually, you'll start giving away squirrel to him for free, hoping that you'll recapture that same validation you were experiencing at the very beginning. The reality of it is you're never going to experience that same validation, and you'll always be chasing after that validation, which in turn will mean you're chasing after him. In the end, you'll end up broken and sad because you'll realize he'll squeeze the life out of you while you're in pursuit of that validation. He'll throw you and cast you to the side and go chase after a girl who actually has real confidence and security in herself and doesn't need his validation. So the key to your problem is not down here. It's not over here. It's actually right here. Okay? Okay. All right, guys. That is the show for today. If you guys, I hate to end on a sad note there, but if you guys have a question for me and you want to put it into the Discord and you want to get your question answered and your situation answered, please feel free to send me a message. If you're on TikTok, you can go into the TikTok bio and you can send me your Discord question in the relationship advice section there. If you're on YouTube, you can go down into the link in the description and then I will give you your advice from that there and when you get to it from there. Okay. If you love me so much and you appreciate me so much and you want to see everything I'm doing on every other platform, you can also go and follow me on Instagram there. My Instagram is right above my head, and you can even scroll back and see who I've been since before I plopped right in front of you on this amazing screen and everything I've been through, all the experiences I've had and all that good stuff. Also, if you love this show so much, you're like, I need to see this show 20,000 times. I need to watch this episode over again. I need to see everything you've been posting up until this time. I'm new here. This is like a great, amazing community. You can go up onto my YouTube if you're on TikTok, and you go up on my YouTube. You just copy and paste the name there or type my name into the search bar, and you will find my page where you can watch in my live section every single live show that I've ever done in its entirety, with the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded, so you'll never miss even a little bit of the conversation. You'll be able to have all the context you possibly can in all the shows. As well, for those of you who like shorter content, maybe you don't want to watch the whole thing all the time 24/7, I also post condensed versions of my shows without the chat, without the me talking side notes and all that good stuff, without the Discord, on my main YouTube channel as well. So if you want condensed versions of episodes, those will be available there for you as well. Okay. I love you guys so much. I can't wait to speak to you tomorrow. I'm on every weekday for Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. So whatever 4 p.m. Eastern time is in your time zone, I will be there at that time. Until then, arrivederci, au revoir. What's another one? Bon voyage. I will see you later. Okay. Bye for now. I love you though.